Hey, guess what? We're filling out another feedback loop this week, and it's going to be focusing a lot on theme. So I always like to give you an example that you can use on Monday. But of course, this example can feed into the rest of the week because all of these are basically the same with just some of the content itself being different. But the structure is always exactly the same. So we would start with our name. My first name, Mr., my last name, Surface. All right. I will be able to tell my teacher when I need more support understanding a complicated concept. Well, I'm probably going to change the picture there when you see this, but I would probably say, with this teacher, he steamrolls us a lot, so I really need to stop him when he's talking. And I'm not quite sure what a complicated concept is, so I'm going to check that as well. All right. Check all that apply that you could use a little help unpacking or taking apart or analyzing. Well, the objective is I'll be able to identify theme in poetry and prose and their success criteria. How do I know I can identify theme in poetry and prose? I can identify and explain symbols and symbolism. I can contrast major and minor conflicts. I can look closely at description. I can read poetry out loud for rhythm. I can make inferences using weighted words, and I can cite evidence. Well, identify, we've been over a lot. Theme, I need more help with. Poetry, I'm terrible with. Prose, I don't even know what that is. Explain, yes, I do know what that is. Explaining things, I do have trouble doing that. I'll click that. Symbols and symbolism, oh, I forget that. Major versus minor conflict, Surface killed it last week going over that again. Major means important, minor means less so. So I'm not going to click that. Description, I know what that is. Inferences, I forget. Weighted words, I forget. Connotations, I never heard of. Cite, I don't know, but evidence I've heard of before. So I would click all those. And then down here, I would say, all right, how can I try and put that objective in my own words? And I'm going to use this sentence starter. I should be able to read something and to do it. Well, what do? You bring your mouse up here to vocaroo.com. You click on it. It gives you a fresh tab. It's usually the color green unless they changed it to embarrass me. They didn't. You click the microphone right there in the center. And as soon as you click it, it starts recording your voice. Let Mr. Surface know if your microphone is broken and then bring it over to IT at the admin building if you need that repaired or a fresh computer. All right, then I toggle back over here so I don't have to memorize it. And I go, I'll be able to identify theme in poetry and prose. All right, I should be able to read something and identify that. I think that means find, something like that. Find theme, that's like the lesson or something in poetry and prose. I don't remember poetry. And I'd never heard of that word prose. Okay. And then you could use some of the success criteria at the bottom to kind of help inform it and say, well, I do know what citing evidence is. So maybe I'll have to find evidence in poetry of theme, possibly. I should be able to read something and find some sort of lesson in it. All right. Then you would go back over to vocaroo.com. You would click that glowing red square. Once you click it, it'll give you the option to save and share. You'll click save and share. It'll take a little time. And then you go next to the URL there or the web address. You'll click those two boxes on top of each other. Go right back over here and boom. You've got your recorded voice there for all time. Then I've got a little piece of the test. It gives you an idea how you might encounter answering questions about theme when you do get to the test. And in this one, it says, in Mother and Son, Mother to Son, what lesson about life is the mother trying to teach her son? A, do not envy the people who have an easy path in life. B, if you never give up, you'll gain whatever you want in life. C, no matter how hard you try, you will still not reach your goals. Or D, your life may be difficult, but never give up striving for your goals. Now, whether or not you know the answer to that, what do you think would be important for future lessons or for the future, time with Mr. Surface? Well, lesson, what is an easy path or not might come up a lot, and that things might be difficult. All right. Then I've got my long commie assignment. So I started that right around 8:30. And it took me really until about 9:30 to do it. That one was a whopper. This week is a tough one, and that's why it's worth 200 points. Then I click next, and then time passes, and you get this thing here. It says this is due before 3:30, but after class. After class, don't do section 2 until class is over. Wait till class is over. Don't do section 2 until class is completely done. I say it a million times every time, and I mean it a million times every time that I say it those million times. Okay? Please wait till after class to do section 2. Wait until after class to do section 2. Otherwise, you can't give me a grade. And then I can't say to my boss, I really need a raise. All right? I'm looking for that money, y'all. I got to get paid. All right? Now, if you could, class is over. You'll click on Vocaroo again. All right, now that Mr. Surface has delivered probably the most life changing lesson of the year, you're going to go ahead and put it in your own words as best you can. All right, so you say, okay, I should be able to read something and identify theme in poetry and prose. Identify means to pick out, right, amongst possible choices. Theme, which is the life lesson or the central message in the story. In poetry, which is not prose, it's not sentences, it's more like a painting. All right, it's more like the words are images and there are symbols there, and I have to pick them apart the same way when I look at a complicated painting. I look at all the different parts. Versus prose, you go from A to B, from B to C, from C to D, right? Subject to predicate. It's much clearer. Um, and I'll do that through finding a symbolism, which is when an action or an object stands for something else. Something has a secondary meaning. And I'll be able to look at conflicts and problems in the poem and look how they're described. And I'll read the poem out loud and see if rhythm lends itself to helping me figure out what the poem is about, and thus figuring out what its main lesson is, what its life lesson is. I look at weighted words, which another way to say it are connotations, and look at the emotional life of words and see how authors use those to communicate ideas with more clarity and make them more vivid. And I'll be able to cite evidence and stuff in there too. I'll be able to find parts of the poem and explain myself using those parts of the poem, using someone else's words to tell someone else what they are trying to say. So I would go back to Vocaroo. I would click that glowing square again. I would click save and share again. And after I click save and share, I would click on those two boxes on top of each other. I'd go right back over here. I'd go down there and I would go Control V. Boom, there it is. Then I would give Mr. Surface a grade. I will need more support with today's objective, or I feel that I've mastered all parts of today's objective. I don't mind if you give me a 2. All right, you can go ahead and get in the way of my raise. I just need to know how to do a better job for you. That's my job, is helping you to learn. Did you learn from me? And if not, I need to know. Finally, you need to click submit. And once you click submit, it'll be after class, of course. You'll click submit, and then you'll see that screen there. And oh my gosh, it gives you the definition of theme right at the top. What a nice teacher to put that there. Okay, be well.